So I'm Scornaienchi. I'm the president and CEO of Agency59. We're an advertising agency here in Toronto, Canada. Most of them actually, I interact quite a bit with the account management department because that's the department from which I came, right? So I'm still pretty close to it. In fact, act as the account director on a couple of pieces of business. Through that, I have to work with the media and the creative departments, production for sure, and also accounting because as my role in the company, I obviously need to be close to the management of the agency itself as well. So I'm lucky in that I work pretty well with every department in the agency. The quality of the work that we do at Agency59 has been our greatest achievement. We wouldn't be able to survive as an agency in Toronto if we weren't doing great work. We're competing against literally the best agencies in the world who all have offices here. So for us to be just about 50 people strong in Toronto doing big campaigns, we have to be doing something right because we're an owner-operated agency. So I'm really tremendously proud of the longevity of our agency. That we've been a mid-sized player now for a long time in a highly competitive area doing really great creative work, and I'm quite proud about that. We have probably at our agency a little less feast and famine than other independent agencies. A lot of the shops out there, it's a real roller coaster ride. We don't face as much of that, and I'm very proud of that as well. I think it's a fun environment. It should be a fun environment. If it's not fun, then you shouldn't be in an ad agency. I think it's a little more temperamental. It's a little more boisterous. It's probably maybe a little less predictable, a little more wacky, and that's what makes it interesting. I think that's why most of the people who chose to go agency side, chose that path. It's because it's a little crazier and a little more fun, and that's a good thing. We probably always have at least a third of the agency who are between 25 and their early 30s. So that's good. I think it's, we have a couple of old wise guys like me, but we certainly have a lot of young people at the agency as well. Yeah, it varies. It varies depending on the account that you're working on. I have had years in my career where I'm on an airplane once a week. And then I've had years where, I'm on an airplane once a month, and I've had years where there's maybe a half a dozen trips a year. So it does vary. Oftentimes if you're working on a national account, you might be doing research in various cities across the country, or you might be going, out west or east for, conferences or Salesforce presentations, those types of things. I worked on Tourism Canada for many years, so that was great because it allowed us to travel to Paris and London and Germany and places like that. So it sort of depends on what accounts you're on, but I think it's fair to say you should at least expect some travel, and over the course of a person's career, there will almost certainly be 1 or 2 years where you work on a particular piece of business where there's a lot of travel involved. In fact, I was at a cocktail party recently, and someone asked whether I'd been to Calgary, and I said yes, and in fact I think as I was sort of trying to tumble the math in my head, I must have been to Calgary 30, 40, 50 times. So over the course of my career, yeah, of course I will have been to a city like that. And if you ask the average advertising person the same question, I bet the answer would be fairly similar. Yeah, I think what's important in an agency is, the basics obviously are good work ethic, good writing abilities, regardless of what department you're in the agency. We're in the communications world, so you better be able to communicate properly and efficiently. But also there, specifically to, I think, agency world, you need a good sense of popular culture. You need common sense. So, for example, something like being familiar with some of the latest television shows and musical artists and things like that. It's actually important when you work in the agency world because advertising really incorporates a lot of popular culture in the various ad campaigns, right? So it's good to be abreast of that stuff.